Thank you. And then the birthday boy of the committee, Mr. Feenstra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to thank each one of our witnesses. You all have great testimonies. I'm very impressed. And I think we all understand how important the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 was to our families, to our businesses, to each of us. I think about my district. I live in a very rural part of northwest Iowa. And every day we're fighting to survive that main street. That main street made up of all these small little bakery, hardware store, drugstore, you name it. And this 199A is so critical for their existence. If we did not have 199A, if it sunsets, obviously they'd have a 43% tax increase. What would that do to rural America? It'd be devastating. And to our families, you know, it's been noted many times here that it'd be a 26% increase to each one of our families. Where do we get those dollars? Where do we get those extra tax dollars? And I look back, so what did it do from 2017 till now? I mean, we went through COVID. This all made a difference. I mean, if we didn't have these Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, how catastrophic would it have been to our economy? I mean, we would have probably been in a deep recession, even depression. Well, we don't ever know. But we do know this, is that we survived. And that's what we have to look at. There's one thing that really bothers me yet, and that is a double tax. I want to talk about the death tax. I introduced the Death Tax Repeal Act, and we'll reintroduce it in next Congress. I had over 170 members sponsor this because everyone thought it was so important. But think about this. The government, when somebody dies, the government puts their arm in the grave, the IRS puts their arm in the grave, pulls the person back out and says, you owe 41% tax on everything that you accumulated in your life. Think about that. 41%. Pull them out of the ground and say, you owe 41%. That person has already paid tax on most of that already. And yet, to pass it on, we got to pay 41% tax. That's why I am so passionate about getting rid of the death tax. And I hope we can do it this coming year, especially in reconciliation. On the other side of the death tax, since we have currently, we do have the death tax, we have estate tax. It costs approximately $18 billion for small businesses to comply, to try to figure out insurance, to try to figure out trust, to figure out how to manage not to pay that 41%. 18 billion, you know, we could save a lot of money by just getting rid of it. So Mr. Gallagher, I want to talk to you about this. Obviously, your family has to have jumped through a lot of hoops to try to salvage your business to the next generation. Can you talk about that, how it affects you and what compliance looks like?
Yes, and thank you for that question. I'm very passionate about it as well, primarily because I've seen the impacts of what happens when either people have not planned for it or just simply don't have the money to pay the tax. So the hoops are real. The hoops that these businesses and farmers jump through is starting out with identifying their personal goals for their family, first of all. So every single one has a different story and a different need and a different goal. So this is not a cookie cutter plan that everybody can just put into place. It takes a lot of customization and a lot of planning, and a lot of planning early.
Yes.
The hoops include setting up multiple entities, like a number of different trust vehicles can be used, limited partnerships, LLCs. They're setting up entities to help create the best benefit so the heirs can get the most amount of money when death does occur. You have to have many appraisals done. Your business has to be appraised, your real estate has to be appraised, your farm has to be appraised. The costs are astronomical for what they have to go through.
All the stuff you have to go through just to comply with the death tax, just to try to figure it out. And we can get rid of it and we don't have all that problems. I want to talk about one more thing, paid family medical leave tax credit. To me, this is so important. Ms. Couch, you talked about this in Atlanta. Can you briefly talk about how important this is to small businesses as an incentive and not a mandate?
Yes, thank you for your question. So the Paid Medical Leave Act is very important to be able to retain, you want to retain quality employees. And right now it's very difficult, especially in my industry as an accountant, to find and retain quality employees. However, it's so important for small business owners to not be mandated to pay various things like paid Family Medical Leave Act, and it's much more beneficial if it comes in the form of a credit.
Absolutely. I want to thank you for that. Incentivize makes all the difference in the world, and we can do family medical leave, and I'm, again, passionate about that also. Thank you very much. I yield back.